Okay, this is an interview. My name is Sebastian Randolph. I'm a social worker student at ASU, and I am doing this interview with
My name's Shamir Pro.
Samir Pro. Samir Pro, how you doing? All
Alright.
right, cool. Hey, listen, anything that we talk about is confidential unless, you are attempting to hurt someone or hurt yourself, or then I would have to disclose it. But other than that, everything that we discuss right here stays right here and it's confidential. You okay with that?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. So really, this interview is to, talk about any transition that may have been had a substantial impact in your life. From what I understand, you were recently released from the federal prison and relocated to another state. So how has that been for you?
Be honest, uh, I transitioned from the state penitentiary,
Oh,
but
okay.
I actually sat in a federal holding facility for about 9 months during that period of time.
Uh huh.
But there's a big difference from transitioning from total freedom to limited captivity. You know,
And so, can you clarify limited captivity?
like when you free, 9 times out of 10 you can do anything you want, long as it's not coming in violation of somebody else's rights or harming somebody else. But once you placed inside of a system, or once you placed outside of your normal life, you got a person that tell you when to get up, basically tell you when to sleep, show you when you can eat, because you can't just randomly eat for yourself, tell you what to do and when to do it and how you should do it, and you ain't getting paid for it. So it's basically you went from a free king to a living slave in a matter of moments, off of a or for what society deemed as a bad decision. So that transition, once I what we call it touchdown, when you get out from captivity,
Hmm.
we call it touchdown. That means that you're free. You're free again. You back to being you. It's like when you score in the football. Like, so once I came home, or once I was released, everything just seemed different. To everybody else, time moved at a regular pace, but for you, time was sitting still. Time that you left ain't gonna be the same time when you come back. Even though in your head you seem like you just trying to catch up, but you can't catch up with time, because time is of the essence, man. It's the only thing that can't be borrowed because you can't give it back.
Hmm.
So that transition, it was hard. It don't just wear and tear on your body, your mental state. I mean your physical state. It tear on your mental state and your emotional state. You don't know who to trust, and you don't know if your thoughts is your thoughts or if it was implemented to you for you to go this way.
Okay. So it sounds like, uh, 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 you know, your incarceration uh, had also a mental restraint, and in transitioning from prison to society, that restraint uh, isn't removed, and so now your decisions are kind of restrained because you don't know if your decisions are based on your decisions as a person, as a person. I believe you said king, or as a slave. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so and and again, just uh, in summation of this transition, this has been kind of difficult. I hearing you say.
Yeah, it's difficult because the simple fact, it's like being castrated.
Uh-huh.
You in a facility day in day out that you can't go home from. No matter how many times you wake up and think that you're home, you can't go home from. You stuck here. No free will, no freedom of speech. Because freedom of speech will leave you here longer. No rights at all. And it's crazy because if all men are created equal, what gives another man a right to take away your rights?
I understand.
And when I say castrated, it's because you pull from society, and I don't only can speak for the heterosexual males, and that's what I am, alpha. Like, you feel like you castrated because you took from society, and you have no partner to link up with. Like, men and women coming together physically is as natural as birth. It's as natural as growing hair from a head at a toddler, you know. But when you don't have that type of release, I can see why people go into their heads and think too hard or overthink or underthink, and then you're around nothing but strangers. And the crazy thing is, it's like a Twilight Zone because it's like a it's like a community. It stopped becoming a placement and start becoming a community where people talk and sharing knowledge and coming together for a better outcome, not just of the whole system, but of their day. Because it take a miracle just to make it through every day.
Wow.
Like,
Wow. And so it sounds like this was the environment on the inside of the prison, and 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 so because of the isolation and because of the others that are isolated with you, would it be fair to say that that is the meaning of the community as you described it?
yeah, they treated us such as a community. Like, guys, it take a village to raise a child, so I guess everybody that's in there is considered children, and all the security guards or whatever they want to call themselves, they're like the parents running around, and it's crazy because it mess with you mentally because the same ones that point this finger at you and say you're a bad person and put you here, they do the same thing, but since they're on another side of the fence, it seemed okay for them to do it.
Mhm. And,
So
and so and so and I hear you say that uh, that it's not unfair. It's not. It seems unfair that one person can be in a position to judge another person or to take another person's freedom when that person and the particular person are both equal. Did I get that right?
right.
Okay. So moving forward, do you think that in your transitions that there has been any supports for you uh, to redeem, that decision making process that you described as your own?
Yeah, it's is the word. A lot of people don't pay attention to word.
Hmm.
They hear a word and they register it and keep it moving. When I hear something, I break it down to its most common denominator.
Hmm.
I When I was incarcerated, they called me state property,
Hmm.
and I never really paid attention to it because it's like, all right, state property. It's just a label. But at the same time, if I'm a human being, how can a human being be property if this is not slavery? It makes no sense. And they said, well, you reading too much into it. And in my head, I'm like, no, y'all just not reading enough into it. So with that being said, I never want to be another person's property. Like, I don't know what women go through with this slave trafficking and children going through the same process because everybody deal with some type of incarceration throughout their life where somebody's trying to restrict your movement, restrict your freedom of thinking, your thoughts, your actions, and everything above. Like, so I never want to be placed in a situation where I'm forced to not be me.
Hmm.
That's the best thing about me, is that I could be me.
So again, it sounds like uh, that experience has brought you to a place in your life to where you don't ever want to go through that incarceration or bondage or that being of another person's property or facility's property or a warden's property. Did I get that right?
Any type of property.
Correct.
Things like that though, like by doing things like that, it manifests certain feelings.
Mm-hmm.
You go through stages:
Mm-hmm.
anger, hurt, fear, and then once you start pushing the negative, the negative feelings to the side,
Mm-hmm.
you start thinking good, great, happy, comfortable. Because instead of giving them what they want, beat them at their own game. Don't just don't just be like, man, I don't care about the system. F them. I'm going back in. I'm gonna break the law again.
Mm-hmm.
Go around them.
Mm-hmm.
Do it how they do it, because they break the law and they make the law.
Mm-hmm.
But last time I checked, you can't beat the monopoly man when it's his game. It's monopoly.
Mm-hmm.
It's all it's all a game. So if you want to beat the game, you got to play the game. You got to learn the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Go around the rules, but stay within your lane. Build your business. Outthink them. Because once you go to prison, everybody in there, no matter what crime they committed, monstrosity, whatever only that don't even seem deemed a crime, you all considered the same. Everybody's the same. But up here, they can never trap your intellectual capacity, man. Just let it grow. So it's all about turning a negative into a positive, man.
And so has that transition uh, uh, from that place back into society, has it scarred you to the point to where uh, you take an analytical approach on all of your situations, just to be in the boundaries of yourself and uh, the law, or is it fair to say that uh, uh, your approach now is more uh, uh, how can I say it? Your approach is more working with the system, so to speak, to where you abide by the rules, but you do what you have to do.
It's it's kind of not. It's not like working with the
Uh
system.
huh.
It's more like working around the system,
Hmm.
because the system operates in a certain fashion. And last time I checked, everybody can't be everywhere at once.
Hmm.
So if the system is over here, I'm gonna be over here, because that's the best way for you to get around. Like I said, turning a negative into a positive.
Hmm.
But I've been lucky to gain this train of thought. It
Hmm.
took me forever to actually transition into this train of thought.
Hmm.
Like I was in my mid 20s before I actually told anybody I was a grown man.
Hmm.
Like everybody say they 18, I'm a grown man. 21, you a grown man. You're a grown man with no responsibilities. What makes you a man? And I feel like men blossom late, and I was in my late 20s, and I was like, yo, I'm a man now. I done stepped up, not just physically, mentally, responsibility wise, taking care of my peers, taking care of my little inner circle. Cause like I said in the beginning, I'm a king, but everybody got a different definition of a king. I feel like a king is a subject to his people. Like I became king because I take care of my people. You know what I'm saying, I'm not a boss, because a boss runs a company. A king runs a kingdom, and I feel like we born in, not sworn in. So I try to I try to take whatever I got now and just use it in a positive fashion. But negative and positive, That's all a moral standpoint, man. Like the system don't feel like they doing nothing wrong, so they feel like they right, and everybody should be right along with them. That's like we eat the cows.
Okay.
It's like we eat the cows.
Mm-hmm.
The cows like, hey, this evil person.
Mm-hmm.
They come along and they eating us. What if aliens came and they ate us? We'd be like, oh, they monsters, they eating us. But
Right.
really, it's a chain of command. It's a food chain. And right now, the system is high up on the food chain, and we somewhere in the middle. So for our captors or for the people that we on the food list for, don't be food. Like, you know, don't get caught. Don't end up on the chopping block. Like, you see this cow? Why all these cows keep getting caught? Because they all in the front wanting to eat the green grass. Go in the back, eat the brown grass. Grow your own grass. Make your grass green. You know, out of sight, out of mind. So I really try to implement that.
And so that's interesting. So all this train of thought was after you transition and you know and found yourself as a man. Is that correct?
Right.
Oh, good, good. You know that sounds really positive. So, and now you're also indicating that you know. Be independent of your future, be independent of your income, be independent of your wealth, grow your own food. Yeah.
Can't no can't you can't tell you no.
Hmm. Right, right,
It's the
right,
hard.
right,
That's the
right,
only. That's the one person it's hard to tell no to is you.
right,
Cause
right,
in your head you know what you want to do.
right, right,
If you want to use the bathroom, you know your
right,
body gonna say, hey, you gonna feel it.
right, right,
Like, hey,
right,
it's time to go in this
right,
bathroom,
right,
or your stomach gonna growl you like, yo, it's time to eat.
right,
It's hard to tell you no. So if you want to do what's best for you, do you.
right,
Put yourself in a position where you don't need others, but you could also work in harmony.
right, right,
I feel like the key to life is happiness, but
right,
you gotta find what make you happy.
right,
Some people happy doing crazy stuff, bad stuff. I can't
right,
say you wrong because that comes from a moral standpoint. This whole world is subjective, like it's based on opinions and
right,
their thoughts. So
right,
I feel like what's right for me is right for me,
right,
and I'm gonna try to give it to me and mine's. But one of mine's might not think it's right, and they might still veer off to do whatever feels right for them. I can't. I feel like we got one shot at this, so who am I to tell you don't
yeah,
don't be you?
right,
And people do bad stuff, but
right,
that's bad only in my eyes. In
yeah,
their eyes, they feel like they doing something right.
right.
I can't change it. So
And so now that you're at this place, you know, how do you, so your is your view as global as it was before you know became a man, or was it just the world view in itself that allowed you to see yourself as a man and to say, hey, given responsibility and all the things that come with maturity, I can say that I became a man in my late 20s.
yeah, it took me a while to actually admit that. And a lot of people, I can't say a lot of people, almost everybody cares what the world thinks. That's why that's why we wear the designer clothes. That's why we dress a certain way. That's why we wear the jewelry so you can see us. Like
Uh-huh.
once you notice me, I know that's me. It's more like a mirage. The way I feel now, I'm comfortable being however I want. Some days I want to get dressed up. That's just how I feel. And some days I won't I won't get a haircut for about 2, 3 months and would talk to every girl walking past as if I just stepped off a fashion week.
Wow.
It's cause you gotta get comfortable with you.
Mhm.
You can't you can't know what's good unless you try. Like I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the north side of Philadelphia.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people that never left one side of Philadelphia, let alone the whole city. So for me to travel from state to state, city to city, seeing different things, knowing that United States of America is only one country on this continent with a whole lot of other countries and continents and little cities and provinces. I'm like, man, I gotta see the world.
Right.
Cause this ain't the world.
Right.
Like we get caught. Like you ever hear that saying? There's plenty of fish in the sea.
Yes.
And
Yes.
how people will be like, oh, I can't find a good person and this, that, and the third, and I'm always going through this. Yeah, it's plenty of fish in the sea, but you can't see that if you fishing in a pond. You gotta get out there. You gotta see the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or if not, let the world see you.
Right.
It's you was born like everybody was born great, but it's things in life that beat you down to make you seem like you ain't good enough.
Right.
So it's all about breaking that shell. It don't matter how much money you got.
Yeah.
It don't matter what you look like. It all about matter about how you feel.
So again, and I think you made an excellent observation for me, because you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in order for you to see the world, you have to get out in the world,
Right.
and you can't see the world if you're only getting out into a pond or a small area,
Right.
and limiting, that limits what you can see or visualize for yourself. Is that correct?
Right.
Oh,
It's
cool.
all about perception.
Oh, okay.
But how can you see what I see if you're not standing where I'm standing?
Correct. I see your point.
I heard people say like we got the same vision, but we got different views. Because you might be on the first floor, so you see all this. I might be on the second floor, so I see all that. It's all about perception. It's not what you're looking at; it's how you look at it.
Oh wow. Oh, wow. So, and furthering that view, and in relationship to that view, uh, uh, how has that been for you in traveling these different places and going these different places? Has it opened your eyes to a new perspective, or has it, just allowed you to become more focused on the transition of observing and getting out and being in different places?
It's amazing.
Oh, it's amazing.
Like,
Okay.
it's amazing. Like where I'm from and how we talk,
Uh-huh.
like how our accents sit and how we say things. By me traveling a whole lot of different places, staying different places, you pick up things, whether it's languages, whether it's lingos, as far as slang, that expands your vocabulary. It expands your mind because you're just cramming things in, taking stuff in. Like I was still in the streets when I was still going state to state, and how people hustle different, how they move different, they dress different, they talk different, they act different, and it's hard to be you. It's hard to fit in when you from a different place, so you'll stand out. And it's it's amazing to see how different folks live, what they think, because with a different atmosphere, you got different mindsets, you got different thoughts. Like everybody got their own thing going on. It's beautiful. Like and to be honest, like the women look different, the men look different. When you from a certain place, it's like you look like you from here. I can't even explain it. It's like they got certain faces. Like
Right.
I could look at a Philly person like, oh, you got a Philly face.
Right.
I could look at because I've been out in Ohio for a while, Cincinnati, and you could look at a Cincinnati person and be like, She from Cincinnati. She has a Cincinnati face, and it's funny because it's true. Like you could look, it's crazy. I can't really explain
Yeah,
it.
right.
Like that's how you know people are natives. How the water is, how you bred and how you born. Everybody has like a twin, but people have certain faces. They live in different ways. It's amazing though, for real.
Yeah,
Just to get in to see what's going on, like at the ground level.
yeah,
And I've been to almost every project, every upper class neighborhood, from Beverly Hills in the hills to North Philly projects, like, and it's it's how you live.
yeah,
It's not what you're doing. It's how you actually living.
yeah.
Not your circumstances, but how you carry yourself and how you take care of your day to day.
Right, right. And so again, and that that makes a strong emphasis with me because it seems as that perspective is a cultural perspective that you can actually see,
Mm.
and it brings me to whether we are the environment, and the environment is our twin because we are the environment. Individually, we are the environment. And just to uh, 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 in summary of what we talked about today, and uh, it was interesting to hear you speak, in such a in-depth perspective,
Right.
and to recognize that, well, I only became a man in my late 20s, and prior to that, would you say that you what may have been irresponsible? You're thinking,
I was very irresponsible
uh huh.
because at the age of 21, I started having kids.
Oh wow.
That's when I started having kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was living fast, little fast money,
Mm-hmm.
fast women, but at the same time, I started having kids. I wasn't going out buying my kids all the fancy clothes and stuff like that. I was still going out buying me stuff. I was selfish,
Mm-hmm.
and I was still going to the club when I should have been putting shoes on my kids' feet
Mm-hmm.
and clothes on my kids' backs. I was doing the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I transitioned into my man stage, I stopped doing for me and I started doing for we. We was a team. How can I be like how they say it's no I in team, but it's an I in win? I don't want to win that way. Like with the once I transitioned into that man stage, I started taking care of them. They look good. They make me look good. I don't even gotta get dressed no more because they gonna be like, well, that's a man that's worth something. Cause look at him looking like trash, but look at them looking like princes and royalty. They know where it came from. It's a different mindset. When you out here flashy looking good and your kids look like bums, they know something ain't right. Either these ain't your kids and you stepdaddy,
Mm-hmm.
or you just you bad parent. Now it's different if you're taking them to the park to play, but if you clean, make sure your babies is clean. You don't even need to be clean because once you become a parent, it ain't about you no more. But I couldn't understand. I couldn't make that quick transition because it was too much. I was still living. But once you create life, that is life.
Okay. Okay, man, that was really interesting, and I just like to summarize that last piece where you said that you were selfish, that you thought of yourself, and I just like to paraphrase uh, 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 that key piece because a lot of us, as men, as 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 individuals, we fail to take responsibility for that piece, and you hear it all the time. Oh, how I did it for my kids, or how I really, really just love my kids, now that I'm in prison, but
No, it's fake.
it's fake because, and I'm taking it from you is that you didn't love your kids the way that you should have
Yeah,
loved
I
them.
didn't love them the way I should have. Like, I loved them because it was like it felt like it was conditioned.
Mhm.
Like, I have to. You ever had like a cousin? Like,
Uh-huh.
okay, this is my cousin.
Uh-huh.
He cool, but he get on my nerves.
Right, right, right,
Like, if he was a friend, I probably wouldn't deal with him.
right,
But that's unconditional love because it's family.
right.
That's how I felt with the kids. Like,
Uh-huh.
I love them because I have to
Uh-huh.
until I started to grow up.
Uh-huh.
Like, a lot of people lie and be like, man, this is my breath and my joy and everything. But actions show. When the last time you seen your kids, even when you was on the streets, you know? Like, I don't sit up there like nowadays is the thing to be on social media
Mhm.
and post every second with your kid, like, oh, I'm with the kid, we having fun. I don't got time to post a million pictures with my kids because I'm actually with my kids.
Right.
And it's not for the world. People need clarification. That's why they put it out to the world so they can get the world feedback.
Okay. Okay. I see your point.
Like, some women don't feel sexy, so they take off most of their clothing, put themselves in front of a camera, give it to the world, and the world give them feedback to let them know if they sexy or not. And if they get enough feedback that's in a positive fashion, they like, yeah, well, it's true, I am sexy.
Okay.
That's how people do with their children. They put it out there and be like, well, I'm having fun with the kids.
Uh-huh.
And they be like, oh, you really having fun with the kids, so they can get that feedback. I don't do that. I can't record me watching my daughter slide down the slide because I'm actually playing with my son and waiting for her to slide down the slide and not fall, you know?
Uh-huh.
Got to make sure I'm out there doing something. I'm out there really active because life ain't life if you ain't living. And I don't mean you out here balling, buying 10 cars and a million chains. I mean, actually live life. Slow down and eat your food. Drink your juice slow, you know? Watch what you want on TV. If not, go outside, get some fresh air, whatever floats your boat. That's your thing. You like it, I love it. It's all about how you wanna do it. And I had to figure that out with my children. I had to figure that out with my children. And once I figured that out, I'm like, okay, I really do love them. You go from selfish to selfless, you know?
Oh, good. Good. Okay. Well, it was really interesting, and hopefully, I can, meet with you some other time, and I really enjoyed this session, and I look forward to hearing more about, your transition, next time we meet. Hey, thanks.
Ain't no problem.
All right. Good. That concludes my interview. I had to get 30. I got 33. Got 33.
I'm about to say you could chop that and screw